Welcome, everyone. My name is Ryan Mullen. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Clio. I am joined by my colleague, Shane Hagan. He's on the Solutions Architect team, and he's going to be walking through our platform here very shortly. Now, we do have a special session today. It's geared actually for NetSuite. We do these every other week, and sometimes we'll focus on what CIC might look like for just a manufacturing organization and order to cash business process. Sometimes we highlight different integrations as it relates to an ERP or TMS. And then again, today we are focused on NetSuite. Couple of areas of housekeeping. Because you all attended or are attending live today, you took 30 minutes out of your day. We appreciate it. We will be sending the recording. That note always comes from Clio's customer marketing manager, Jill Barlow. So keep an eye on your inbox early next week for that note. We also encourage questions, and we're saving some time at the end here to answer them as well. So Shane has it up there on the screen. It's on the bottom of your Zoom bar there. Just drop questions as they come to mind. We will be circling back. If we get so many questions that we're not able to cover all of them, I promise a Clio representative will reach out to you directly following today's session with an answer. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Shane. So Shane, please take it away.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan. All right, so I'll get us kicked off here. Just with a brief introduction, my name's Shane Hagan. I'm a solution architect with the Clio team. So I'm a technical counterpart to a lot of the sales and marketing folks at the organization. I've been with the team for about 2 years now, been in the integration and B2B space for about 6 years, and I'm based out of Philadelphia. So yeah, I'm going to be taking us through a demo of CIC specifically focused on our integrations with NetSuite. Before I do that, I did just want to highlight the overall Clio philosophy here. I'll take 30 seconds and just kind of run through this slide. The main kind of pillars that Clio focuses on are summarized in these three words here: accelerate, control, and trust. And what that means is, as I go around this circle or this wheel here, we want to enable our customers to have accelerated solutions, have control over those solutions, and ultimately trust in those solutions after they've been live. So accelerated integration essentially means we want to get things stood up as quickly as possible. And we do have pre-built integrations for a lot of the popular applications we see out there, including NetSuite. So we have a lot of pre-built integration flows, but that by no means limits us to how we work with NetSuite. It really just gives us a jumping off point to say, all right, this is how we typically see things. And once we actually get into your implementation and the design in your NetSuite environment, we'll go ahead and make any customizations, any tweaks, any requests by your team to make sure we're supporting your native NetSuite workflows. The control side of that really comes through that right-hand corner, the control and operational flexibility that the platform offers. We offer both self-service and fully managed service offerings with our platform. So you can take full control over the Clio environment, never have to speak to a Clio team member again, or you can be fully managed and rely on our team to manage things from a day-to-day operation and also any new development or onboardings that might pop up. You could also fall somewhere in the middle there, which is where a lot of our customers do end up falling. It's kind of like a volume dial where you can pick how much service you want from Clio, depending on the experience, the availability of team members at your organization, and how you ultimately want us to augment your teams. The supply chain solutions and relationship management really ties back to that trust aspect. We deploy a lot of solutions really focused around supply chain, whether that's the order to cash flows, procurement, or logistics flows, are some of the most popular integration solutions that we're deploying. And then that relationship management is once those solutions are in place, we want to enable your team to manage those relationships with your partners, build insights around performance, whether that's scorecarding yourself and your own performance, or scorecarding your partners and how they're performing with things that they're responsible for. And ultimately, we want to enable you to build analytics and make decisions based off of that data that we're collecting for you. So that's the high level kind of Clio philosophy there. I'm going to jump to this slide here, and this overviews our solution in a little bit more technical detail. We have a high-level diagram here that shows us the end-to-end integration that Clio is ultimately delivering. On the right-hand side, your business ecosystem. These are your partners, whether this is customers, suppliers, carriers, 3PL warehouses, whatever it might be. We connect to that business ecosystem in whatever way they want to communicate, whether that's AS2 or SFTP for more traditional EDI connections. We also support API connections to connect to e-commerce marketplaces or visibility platforms. So really, we support a slew of communication protocols to enable connectivity to your business ecosystem and get data moving through our Clio integration cloud in the middle. This is where our integration engine lives. This is what handles the transformations, the orchestration, any of the validations that we're doing while data is in transit. We will configure and design that in the engine, and then ultimately integrate directly with your backend system, in this case, specifically NetSuite, where we tie into the NetSuite records that you're using. Any of the customizations that you've made to those NetSuite records, we identify with our NetSuite connector. We pull that into our design environment and can account for any of the uniqueness that you've deployed within NetSuite. So that's the high level idea, right? End-to-end integration with your system of record NetSuite and your business ecosystem. Now, the cockpit, what that we're seeing kind of sitting on top of the integration engine here is the dashboard and visibility tool that will sit on top of your integrations, letting your team know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Really meant for exception management and maintaining the operational state of the cockpit or of the integration environment. So when things go wrong, you get notified, you can jump in there and start troubleshooting. This is also where you can onboard new partners or update existing partners if they've made map change requests, or if they have a new connection type or a new certificate that you need to apply to their connection. All of that you can do in the cockpit to maintain that operational state. So I guess I'll stop talking now and we can, or stop talking at slides rather. I'm not going to stop talking. And we can jump into the actual product demo here. So let me switch my screen share and we can take a look at the cockpit. I have too many browsers open here, so I'm not sure which one is the right one. There we go. All right. So this is the CIC cockpit. And what we're looking at now are a couple examples of some purchase orders that a partner has sent us, right? Acme sent us these three purchase orders here. And so we see those populated in the cockpit here. And I'll take a second and explain the entire cockpit interface. But what I first want to touch on is the integration with NetSuite. So we're seeing orders have come in and we should be seeing these in NetSuite. And I have my NetSuite environment here, and I'm looking at my my sales orders and sales and my sales orders list. And we're seeing those two recent sales orders in here. One is pending approval, one's pending fulfillment. So this is a new one that I sent in earlier. And if I open this up here, and I probably should have clicked view. There we go. We see some of the sample data that we are integrating into NetSuite. This is basic NetSuite fields like linking the customer record, providing the customer's PO number that they sent us, the sales dates, the source. We see our item populated down here with the amount and quantities. And so this is a very basic integration example, but I think it tells the story of how Clio wants to integrate with your records in NetSuite. We can connect to any of these fields that we're seeing here, right? Whether it's the item, the shipping sections, the billing sections. we can connect to any of these fields, populate this information however you'd like. So we're not introducing a rigid integration here. It's very much flexible in the design so that we are populating NetSuite with what your users expect. And then kind of attached to that is, as folks work through NetSuite using the native NetSuite functionality, like for example, coming up here and approving this sales order, this will then kick off our integration process to pick up that confirmation notification and send out an 855 order confirmation to our partner. So we're tying into the existing workflows, the native workflows in NetSuite. We don't really introduce a package like we see some other solutions introduced in some of these ERP systems that effectively says, hey, this is how we integrate with NetSuite now, this is how you have to use it. We're very much flexible in the design that we can introduce and deploy here. With that being said, we do introduce some custom fields in our NetSuite package. And really what these fields are for is for our integrations to keep track of where things are at. So we have things like source status, some various document statuses here, to keep track of what stage this order is at, and if there's any kind of special handling that needs to happen with these orders. This is all kind of under the covers or under the hood information that our integration process will maintain. We're not going to come in here and ask your users to work with these fields or interact with these fields. They can stick with the native fields that they know in NetSuite. So if I go back to the other sales order that I have here and click view on this, we can see I actually approved this one, and this one's now pending fulfillment. And when I go back to Clio and I refresh this, we should see my sales order acknowledgement. Maybe we won't see it here. Which one was this? This one is U1. Yeah, not sure why my sales order acknowledgement didn't get pushed through there. I approved it before the call here, but that's all right. So back in the CIC cockpit here, we see this high-level information that the partner sent us. So we populate some information out of the purchase order here to see key information like the ship to party, the requested shipment date, things like that. We can also see the raw data that was exchanged in this integration. So the source or the 850 that the partner sent us, the message that we translated this into, in this case, the XML format that we use for the NetSuite APIs. So we're seeing what our transformation engine created here. We can even compare them side by side, see how that transformation went through. And lastly, the message lifecycle at the bottom here shows us all of the logs associated with this integration. So we can see the source logs from the source connection. So with our partner, we see the payload that they sent us. We see the logs from that payload. In this case, this looks like a mailbox or an SFTP site that we pull this information from. Our transformation step will show us all of the processes that kicked off in our integration engine to transform this from an 850 to the NetSuite sales order. And so I could expand this and see all of the processes that kicked off, the parent and sub processes here, and even expand all the way into each individual step to see the logs from those steps. This is all Java under the hood, so you're seeing some Java stack trace logs there. But this is as deep down as folks would get. This is the most technical information that you can get to in the cockpit. Really is used for troubleshooting. When things go wrong, we're able to point out exactly which step in the process failed so that somebody can go fix that. Lastly, here we see the connection to NetSuite. We see the services that we use to connect to NetSuite, see the requests and responses that we sent and received with the NetSuite API services. So from a high level, that's what I want to cover from the NetSuite side of things, right? The main two things that I want to reiterate is there's tons of flexibility in the integration design here. So we come in with a baseline or how we typically see NetSuite integrations go, and then we have a collaborative design effort to say, all right, well, this is what we typically see, but what do you guys or what does your organization want to see from a NetSuite integration standpoint? What fields do you use? What kind of validations do you want us to do? Are there other workflows that go into your process that we need to account for? All of that we do within our implementation process. Um, and yeah, so we just want to reiterate that we don't really put you in a box with the NetSuite integration design here. I want to jump back to the Clio cockpit and just take a look at what the day-to-day or what an environment might look like when it has a lot of information flowing through it. So I'm going to jump over to this dashboard here and just show us a quick glance at what an environment looks like that has some real data moving through it that looks a little more like what a production instance might look like. So we're seeing here in our main dashboard, it's high level aggregate charts for different transaction types that you're moving through your integration environment. We're seeing purchase orders, ship notices, and invoices. Users can come in here and customize this. So if you don't want to see certain transaction types, you can get rid of those charts. You can also add new charts for maybe some of the operational metrics that we're collecting, like volumes or issues, or select charts for other document types that you might be exchanging with your partners. So if I want to see order acknowledgements that went out and invoices that went out, I could add those to my dashboard here. Now, when I open up one of these charts, it takes me to the message tab and shows me all of the messages that make up that chart. So in this case, I'm seeing all of those inbound purchase orders. I see some high level information here, like the partner it came from, the unique ID, if it has an issue associated with it, what the acknowledgement status is. So all of that quickly populated for us here. You can also customize this on a user basis as well. So in the top right-hand corner here, you can actually manage the columns that you're seeing to check and uncheck these. If you're not interested in seeing the reprocess indicator or the ship to party, we can uncheck those. And if we want to see the purchase order, for example, you can check the box for that and see that populated as a column in your table here. So again, something that a user can kind of tailor their experience based on what they want to see at a quick glance. Now, the other things we can do in here, additional filtering. So when I selected that chart, it automatically sets a filter for inbound purchase orders, but I can come over here and configure that filter to account for maybe inbound and outbound purchase orders. So I could select both. I could select the partners that this is that I want to see exchanges with. Could filter by issue status, whether that's current or resolved issues, filter by acknowledgement status, filter by additional document types. So if I want to see order acknowledgements and ship notices in my view here, I can select those as well. We'd see all of our different document types that we're exchanging in our integration environment here. And lastly, you can filter by any of the details in these message payloads. So whatever we're seeing as a property in the cockpit, you're able to search and filter on. So if you'd like to find purchase orders with a specific ship to party, enter that ship to party here. We can see all of the different message properties that we've chosen to surface in this demo environment to be able to search on. But this is something that we can configure for your tenant. If you want to see other properties surfaced here that you'd like to be able to search on, we can absolutely enable that. I do want to touch on here, if I open up one of these orders, we saw an example of this earlier, right? Where we saw the purchase order and some of the high level information we surface out of it. But I do want to point out on the left-hand side, as transactions come back and forth, we're going to build this transaction chain to show you the full context of where we're at in this order processing state. Or if we're talking about warehouse transfers, we would tie together warehouse documents, or for shipments with low tender to invoice processes, we would tie together all of those documents related to that shipment. So we're seeing here a purchase order to invoice example, and we see the core 4 documents that we exchange with this partner. We can click through these, see high-level information for each document type, get into the details and the logs if we need to see the source and the target data, see the message lifecycle at the bottom for each of these as well. So again, capturing the entire lifecycle of a transaction. This is a pretty basic example with just 4 document types. But if, let's say you're doing partial shipments for an order and multiple ASNs went out, we would capture all of those ASNs and tie them together here. Or if you have an order change process and order change documents were exchanged, we would capture those as well. So you get the full context no matter what document types are exchanged, as long as there's is information to relate it back to an original order or an original shipment or things like that. So that's the full kind of business level context that we're driving here within the cockpit. There is some other views. There are views specific to partners. So if you want to see kind of performance with a partner, you can jump in here and see breakouts for that partner and all of the transaction types you're doing with them. There's also this idea of scheduled reports. So if you want to expose this information that we're collecting in the cockpit, but maybe a user isn't necessarily interested in jumping into the cockpit and seeing these charts here, you can send them an automated report via email and collect whatever information you'd like out of the cockpit and send that out to them. So whether it's orders with a specific partner, orders that are at risk of missing an SLA, invoices that we've sent out or received this week, right? However you want to set up those filters and reports, collect that information, send it out via email. Very easy to set this up for kind of any of the transaction types or types of filters that you'd like to send out to other team members. All right, so I want to talk through the troubleshooting process a little bit when something goes wrong in your integrations. So I'm going to jump back to my messages and search for any messages that have an issue. So I have a lot of purchase orders here, and I'm going to open up one of these. Now, when something goes wrong in your integration processes, we will throw a flag on that document. So we're seeing here this red N means new issue, and we will send out a notification to whoever wants to receive those notifications. It's an email-based notification. It will have a link that takes you to this view that we're seeing here. This is where the engine generates an issue report and spits out as much information as it can around the issue. This one's pretty technical. It's a mapping failure where the trading partner sent us a value ZZ in a field that is supposed to be a decimal. So there's a couple different options we can take here to troubleshoot this. We could manually correct the data if we wanted to change ZZ to 0.0 and resend this through our integration process. We could grab that source data, correct it, send it back through a reprocessing flow, and get it integrated into NetSuite. We could also update our maps if this partner Mayor here is going to keep sending us ZZ in this field, and there's nothing we can do about that because they're an enormous retailer and we can't get them to change things. We can go in and change this mapping rule that we're doing here and start accepting ZZ or alphanumeric characters in this field specifically for Mayor. Then we could come back into the cockpit here after we've deployed that map change and reprocess all of the transactions that might have been affected by that bad map or that this particular failure here. And by the way, the mapping changes do happen in the cockpit. I said that like it doesn't happen in the cockpit. You can own and maintain the partner maps in the cockpit here with our no-code onboarding. Also worth mentioning, while I have a couple minutes here, the operational control and flexibility that I mentioned at the start of the webinar. This can totally be a self-service environment where your team owns and troubleshoots these issues as they pop up, or you can use our managed services team who will proactively monitor your environment for you. They have a 1-hour SLA response time. So whenever something goes wrong in the cockpit and an issue flag gets sent up, they'll have eyes on it within an hour and start working on troubleshooting that issue. Any of the updates or changes to the ticket status that our team makes, you will see reflected at the bottom here. So we see this comment section, and we can actually comment back to our managed services team as well to collaborate if we do need to collaborate. Maybe there was some bad data in NetSuite that somebody needs to go fix on your side. You can do that and say, all right, this document's ready for reprocessing now. You can close this ticket, for example. So all of that communication happens here. Single pane of glass. There's not another support portal that you have to log into or multiple email chains that you have to track to see the status of your tickets. All right, well, we have about 2 minutes left here, and I want to make sure we get to any questions that we have. So Ryan, if you want to pop that open and see if we have any questions from the here.
So we have one on the topic of ticketing, actually, but outside of the Clio platform. Does CIC offer any off-platform alerting or the ability to integrate into ticketing systems such as Zendesk?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, our integrations can be incredibly flexible. So if we do want to integrate any data into a third-party ticketing system or platform, we could absolutely do that.
Okay, excellent. Does Clio handle 846s, which I believe is inventory lookup?
Absolutely. Yeah. Inventory snapshots. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Those are the only two questions that we had today. The only other thing that I wanted to mention, and Shane, you hold me accountable here, right? Our ability to integrate with NetSuite and really that connection, we do stay up to date with the ERP NetSuite itself as they make updates and product updates as well. So, if you get an update from NetSuite, our ability to connect it, I want to just boil it down to a connector, right? But we will make that adjustment as well on our end. And so we always stay in lockstep to make sure that that integration is tight. And I believe there's something going on currently with NetSuite as far as a product update. So I don't know, Shane.
Yeah,
Did I hit it on the head there or what?
That's a hot topic right now, Ryan.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. We're an official NetSuite connector, NetSuite partner. So we are partnered with them whenever they're making changes or officially deprecating services. They let us know, and our team proactively develops on our connectors to make sure we're using the officially supported NetSuite services. And then if we do need to do any refactoring with existing integrations, we absolutely do that as well.
Thank you. Much better said. I appreciate that. But I did notice a product email going out to the many NetSuite customers that we have and thought it was pretty topical. So with that, again, thank you everyone for joining. You will get a recording sent to you early next week. We really appreciate you spending some time with us. And Shane, thank you to you as well. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone.
Sure. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.